Hail and blessings. Just because we can do a thing doesn't mean we should do a thing. The ego, the I, and the id, and not in the way that people talk about ego death, because that is not it, often override the parts of our soul, override our hugr and our munr, because we seek as humans that easiest, quickest explanation for everything. And emotion is a very hard and fast driver of what we do in our daily mundane lives. How do we overcome that so that we think with clarity, sensibility, a sense of measure, discernment, in order to not adversely affect the other soul parts? Each of our soul parts mixes together, connects, just like puzzle pieces. And if you mess up one, if you allow that ego, I, and id to override and take on our hugr and munr, our thoughts and memories, it goes further. It has that chain reaction to our other soul parts. And the damage there can be very real. And whether we realize we're doing it or not, it happens. Sometimes it's subconsciously. Sometimes we do these things consciously. But here's the thing. We can indeed control it. We can work with it. We can change that energy from that negative, harmful, our own thoughts in the mundane, to our thoughts in the spiritual realms, into something that is positive, helpful, productive, and that serves us far better. Part of that is getting rid of that which doesn't serve you. Having a moment to talk about the things where we went wrong, to be able to ask that they are healed, ask that we work past them, ask that we are able to be better to ourselves, to others, in our spiritual path, and in our regular everyday world and relationships with others. And on the Norse path, we talk about our und, breath, and what that does, as well as the hugr and munr that mix there with that ever-present and overwhelming ego, I, and id. We must learn to control. And again, it's not that ego death some others talk about. That's not the point. We all have some element of the self and the I that makes us identify with who we are. It's being able to measure and control that within those soul parts. There are times when our breath, our und, can betray us because we let that ego, I, and id overwhelm. We say things that are hurtful. We say things that are harmful to others, things we regret and wish we hadn't said. Other times we use that to send something good. Some people choose something baneful. Some people choose something that is just a blessing that doesn't serve themselves and helps another. Understanding the power in that und is important. Understanding where our human frailties and that ego, I, and id can overwhelm with emotion. Emotion is strong. Whether that be love or hate, disdain, joy, it's there. And getting our mind trained in order to look at things clearly and freshly is sometimes really super hard to do. So the next time you think about doing something baneful for some mundane, silly reaction or actions by another that actually don't affect your livelihood, your family, your day-to-day life that has a logical, mundane explanation to it, because you're angry or because you're hurt, or before you use that und, that breath, to say something that is hurtful to another and harmful. Think about how you can transform those feelings, those emotions, and that energy. And it's useful. It truly is. How can you transform it to serve you and others better? How do you move that energy through your soul parts to become feeding, fulfilling, and beneficial to your soul parts, which then is beneficial and feeding and fulfilling to yourself, to your loved ones, and all those that are attached to your beautiful weird? You can move it to something more productive. Not everything that takes place requires that negative response. And if we're feeding on that negativity, we know that everything in the cosmos and in nature requires balance. It's there for a reason. That darker energy is there for a reason. It's useful. That lighter energy is there for a reason and is useful. But if you sink yourself in one or the other, you lose that balance and you lose the parts of your soul. and you'll probably lose those closest to you because you made some poor choices and because you allowed your ego, I, and id to run rampant on your soul parts. You're worth more, and you can change it, and there are ways. Blessings from the Mad Realm, Realm of Runes, and Nasty Recon 710.